Welcome everyone in this new video tutorial about the multiplayer combat editor. This video is the part 3 of the merging with ARPGIS plugin by Vanguard Interactive. So in this video we're going to fix up the mess I made us create in the previous video, and what I mean by that is the the piling up of the bonuses. So I've came up with a solution which is both cheaper to broadcast on the network and easier to treat here, to manage here, but it's a bit more, it's a bit longer to set up. So but I think it's the proper solution to our problem. So what is so what was the problem? The problem was that we were not able to store the modifier conditions in the list of things we were storing, and therefore we weren't able to do modifiers such as increase fire damage and increase frost damage without using two different stats, whereas we do want to only use one stat to do that. And same thing for any other stat. So for instance, resistance or whatever. And if we were using the alternative version of piling up the bonuses by adding all the bonuses like that, we were not stacking bonuses with each other. And not only was it more expensive to broadcast, it was also not displaying information properly on our interface. So to fix that issue, we're going to actually create a bunch of modifiers which are going to be our bonuses. So let's create a new folder which is going to be called item bonus. And in this folder we're going to create a new blueprint class which is going to be a modifier like this, and we're going to call that BP item modifier. Let's open that up and let's type in setup, and we want to call this, and we actually don't care about that. We're just going to open up the modifier we created the other time. We need to be calling, oh, this is a status, so we only need to be calling begin play, I think. Event begin play, get target. So we are actually creating a parent class for all the modifiers we're going to need for our items. So instead of, we're going to open up our item list. Instead of specifying what bonuses we want by typing in these, all of these, we are only going to specify one type of modifier and a value. So we're going to create a bunch of child of that modifier, which are going to be all of the modifiers we want, like else modifier, fire damage, etc. So when that modifier is spawning, we want to add a stat modifier, and not the event. We want to add a stat modifier like this, and we're going to promote that to a variable, which is going to be stat to modify. This is going to be a matrix. We want to break that. We want to promote that to a variable, which is going to be value modifier. And we are drag and dropping this into matrix as well. And we're going to promote that to a variable. We're going to call that tags. And finally, we are going to promote that to a variable, call this value, and make that public and expose on spawn, because we're going to dynamically modify this. refresh all nodes to get rid of the warning. And the value is going to be a reference. We don't want that to be in the list of metrics because we are not going to modify this by hand. You're going to see real quick what I mean. If we go back to our item bonuses here, we can create a child blueprint class of this. This is going to be our first item bonus. We're going to call this item mod. We're going to call this else, and if we go there, we're going to call this flat else. Let's go there. It's going to modify else by a flat amount. It's not going to have any tag. And the value, we don't want to specify this. It's going to be specified in the data list of items. So it's going to be a flat else modifier. We want to duplicate this, and we're going to call that percent ratio attack speed, for instance, and another one which is going to be resistance, fire resistance, and we're going to open up attack speed and fire resistance. Attack speed is going to be buffing attack speed by a ratio, and it's not going to have any tag or anything else. Fire resistance, it's going to modify damage taken by a ratio amount, and it's going to have one tag of type fire. And if we duplicate fire resistance, we can create, for instance, frost resistance. Open that up, say it's a frost resistance. So as you can see, it's a bit longer to set up, but it's going to be cheaper to broadcast, and it's going to be easier to treat, to manage in the code. So we created a bunch of stats. Now we need to specify that our items in the data list doesn't specify their bonuses this way. We're going to modify this structure. So let's go into inventory. What do we want here? We want a new structure, which is going to be actually, I think we can get rid of that structure and open up inventory item. Item bonus, we want to modify item bonus structure in there. And in here, we don't want stats. We want BP modifier, a BP item modifier class. And we want, in here, we want a float. So bonus type and amount or value like this. We're going to save. And by default, inventory item, we're going to add 2 bonuses to all items we have. If we add bonuses in this structure, it's going to give all the bonuses to all of our items, and this way we can quickly try out if this is working. So for instance, I want flat else, and I want ratio attack speed like we add like this. If we hit save, Control S to save it all. If we close item, we can close that and this. And in our item list, we can see our items all have the bonuses we added to the main structure. So we are fine with this. Item modifier type, is this used? Yes, it's still used. We're going to get rid of this, I believe. So if we go back there, it's going to throw errors if we compile, and that's normal. We modified the structure used in the logic. So what if we say, let's get rid of this and that and that. Let's get rid of everything in there. Like this. Receive new stat list. This is going to, so this is not the type we want. We want to hit compile, I think, because we cannot hit compile right now. Yeah. So we want to get rid of these nodes and remove this and hit refresh all nodes here. my shortcut is F5. So if we save, get this, and open that up, it's going to be a class of modifier and a value. It's going to have it's going to have two values, the two values we want. And we're going to need to create our own macro which adds an item modifier. So if we double click that, we're going to open up this and copy paste that, remove that, and use our own nodes like this. So what do we want to create here? We want to create an item modifier. We actually don't want to create an item modifier. What do we want to create? We want to create the bonus type field here, like this. The value is going to be the value specified in the item. And the target is going to be myself. And we are constructing the modifier afterwards, which is triggering the event begin play, which is going to trigger event begin play is going to trigger our add stat modifier logic. So I think we are fine with this in here. We can also remove the add stat modifier, but we are going to store our newly created modifier in the array like this. Where is this used already? I don't quite remember. On item bonus updated, it's never being used, so we're just going to remove this for now. So we are adding all the modifiers to our character. We need to properly store them now. We are looping through all of our items, and we're going to remove these temporary variables we created, and we're going to create a new variable out of this. We're going to actually make a map of these bonus types and store them properly. So make a map of this and add float to that, and we're going to call the and we're going to make that a local variable. Remove that and this. This is going to be our temp modifier list, and we're going to build the same logic we built previously. So let's grab this, let's find if we already have bonus of the type. What are we doing? We are adding an addition. What are we doing here? We are adding that modifier with the value we found plus the new value we want to add, like this. Else we are just storing the modifier like this, and when we are done, what are we going to do here? We're going to grab our temporary modifier list. We're going to grab all the keys, and we're going to how do we fill this? Yep, like that. Okay, so how do we make that? We're going to loop through that list and promote that to a local variable, final modifier list. If you wonder why we are not broadcasting this directly and need to broadcast this way, that's because we cannot replicate or multicast maps, but we can replicate or multicast arrays. So we're going to build up the final modifier list by using this and finding the value of that bonus here. So not only it is cheaper to broadcast, it's way easier to deal with, as you can see. So like this. And when we are completed, we're going to receive our newly created stat list. Let's save it all and let's compile to see if there are errors. And there are some errors. Inventory player character, that's What did I remove that I shouldn't? Inventory, it needs, where do we have this? In our controller, if I'm not mistaken. Inventory player character. Where do we have this? I wonder. I believe we get some. We got something in our. Maybe we can do it this way. I don't remember how we were getting the information. Oh, of course. That's just it. My bad. My bad. All right. If I'm hitting play, what do we get? It's taking a while because it needs to compile. And if you were wondering how to add random item bonuses, what I mean by that is, for instance, a sword can give 8 or 11 damage. I cannot do that because it's the item system needs to support this. Okay, so we have a bunch of errors. So the item system needs to support. So we're going to fix the errors just after I talked about random a bit. For instance, if you wanted your flat else modifier to be ranging from 15 to 50, for instance, the item system will need to basically tell everyone when an item spawn that it rolled that amount of bonuses. So you will need to create a little system which broadcasts the items data, because all of the data you can see here are static, which makes it far easier to broadcast on the server, on the network, and makes it cheaper to maintain. So we cannot make random bonuses here. So where were the errors? Equipment. So we're going to open up equipment. Where is it already? We can just open it up like this, Control P, equipment. Oh yeah, we needed to keep our... It's strange that it didn't tell me. So we got rid of an event dispatcher here, which was called on item bonus updated. We're just going to recreate that. Like this, we're going to call that in here and compile and go back to equipment, compile, and it's going to be fine. If we hit play, we have error item bonus entry. Oh, yep. So it's going to be a bit harder if we get the class defaults there. Value modifier, value. We can remove this and we can move that and compile. Right, what else do we get? Tooltip, container slots. We can refresh all nodes. It's going to get rid of the error. If you don't have the shortcut refresh all nodes, I suggest you set it up in the editor preferences. If not, you can refresh nodes. It's going to get rid of the error, I believe. If we hit play, container slot, hotbar slot, I'm sure we just need to... Oh, we have an error there. We can just drag and drop this here and remove this and compile. It's going to be fine. And in there, what's the matter if we hit compile? Yep, same thing. We can drag and drop this here, get rid of this and that, and compile. So if we hit play, I have a bunch of bonuses. So it's not displaying the values properly, but yet it's buffing my else. And it's not working properly, but that's not really a problem. Because we can just go back to the inventory manager component and let's take a while to think about why it might be failing to work properly. Receive new stat list, it's modifying this, which is calling that, which is destroying all the modifiers we got. I'm just going to see what's going on there. So we clearly add an else buff. So this is not triggering on clients because, and I'm not sure why it's not triggering on clients. We will need to add. So there are several problems here, and I'm not sure. We're going to loop through the list of bonuses just so we clearly see what's going on. We're going to check the value, for instance. So I have a 280 else bonus, and I still have a 280 else bonus when I remove the items. Item modifier list. And it wasn't properly displaying the value here, if I'm not mistaken. In item bonus entry, like this, we want to plug that in here. Hit play, and here we can see we have a bunch of values, and we need to move this to be a ratio, like this. Yeah, that's better. And we also have the values there now. But we still can't remove our bonuses, and that is quite strange. So what if I only play alone for a start? When I remove the items, what's going on there? Maybe it thinks I'm still. We're going to loop through this to see if the system thinks I'm still wearing these items. Maybe. Okay, so it thinks I'm still. Okay, I think I know what's going on there. We need to check if we actually have bonuses. Oh, I know what's going on. Since we added the bonuses as part of the default value, it's saying that all my inventory slots are giving me these bonuses. So we're going to get rid of the default bonuses like this. Let's hit save, compile, and we're not going to have the same error now. And of course, it's taking a while to compile because we modified the giant structure used everywhere. And I think we're going to be fine after that. We're just going to add a bunch of modifiers to our items and we're going to see how it behaves. So I don't have any bonuses there. Yep. So if we go to our item list and for instance add a bunch of things there, frost resistance 10, 0.2 I mean, shoulder, fire resistance 0.3, gloves, flat health 5, amulets, fire resistance 0.5, simple axe, attack speed 0.1, dagger, attack speed 0.3, and finally boots. Boots are going to buff our health by a lot. Flat health 50. Let's save, play. So we have a bunch of bonuses there. I'm just going to increase the size of this because I'm tired of not being able to check that out. Equipment. Size box, we're going to increase the size of this a bit. It's not going to be sized to its contents. It's going to be there. It's quite strange how it behaves. I'm not sure where it is located, so I'm just going to collapse it all. It's in a VBox, which is in a size box, which is in a canvas panel. Okay. So we're just going to move the anchor in the middle. 0.5, 0.5. We don't need a width override, we just need to set this up. 250. Whoops. Like this. -1, 0 I mean. And we're going to say that this is located on the right. And we're going to move the size box a bit. Like this. And a bit below, like this. We're just going to hit play. And it's still not working, and that's just because of our bonus entry, which are a bit too small. We're going to increase them. Yep. So we have a few bonuses there. We can grab another stuff. And it's buffing our stats. Fine. Is it working on clients? We don't have a stat bonus there, but that else bonus I meant, but that's because we don't have any item buffing our else. Whoops, it's not working there. At least it wasn't. Oh yeah, you know why we had 2 damage taken entry? That's because one of the entries reducing the fire damage and the other one is reducing the frost damage, and we have no way to see this. So we're just going to add a quick way to see that. If we add text in here, we're going to delete that and duplicate our person text. This is going to be text modifiers, text tags. We're going to write down fire, for instance, and we're going to move that on the right, and it's going to be automatic, not fill. And we're going to add a margin to that, a padding on the right. We're going to add 5 or 10, 5. And on the graph, we can loop through the tags of our modifier, create a new variable, which is tag list, which is going to be a string. And we're going to clear that string, and we are actually going to clear the string first, and then convert that list of tags into a string and append that to our tag list, and set our tag list like this. And then what do we want to do? We want to grab our tag, set the text, and what the text is going to be is our tag list. If we hit compile, hit play, we might better understand what's going on. Frost damage taken, fire damage taken, attack speed, and we don't have else bonus. I don't know where did I put else already. Ah, yeah, boots, on the boots. So where do we have boots? We don't have boots, but at least not the proper boots, but I think it should be working right away. I'd like to find boots. I'm going to set up just a bit more items, bonuses I mean. So I added some stuff to our boots there. I'm going to copy the bonuses and put that on the helmet, on the chest, on the glove. They are already on the legs. And the other boots as well, the other helmet is going to add a bit less, like this. I'm going to save and to play once more. So we have else bonus on client, which is working. We have 100 else, and we don't have else bonus on server, but we are going to have one because I'm going to find something buffing my else. I'm sure of it. Fire damage taken, fine. Leather boots, they are buffing my else, and it's working. So this is how you can we can better sort and handle our bonuses. And I think I just let a print, so I'm just going to remove the print and it's going to wrap up the video like this. Hit compile, hit play, hit save, and it's going to wrap up the video. Hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.